You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dallas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dallas After Show.
Hello, everyone. Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another fabulous after show for Dallas. We are in season 1, episode 9, and this is called Family Business. A lot of family business going on in this episode today. My name is Kelly. Unfortunately, AJ couldn't be with us, but hopefully we'll get him to buzz in with us in a little bit. And we have a very special guest with us today. We'd like to welcome Brenda Strong, who you guys know as Ann.
Thanks for having me.
Round of applause, round of applause.
That canned applause. It's fabulous.
And as always, my lovely co-hosts,
Dorinda Barker,
Ryland, Carillo.
and we've got a lot to talk about today.
It was such a great episode.
It's so great. Lots of conscious, everybody doing the right thing. You see
Right.
a lot of emotion, a lot of
It was almost an
feelings.
angelic episode, if I do say.
A little bit.
And I can't believe there's only one more left.
It's the calm before the storm.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, everyone has to come together and everyone will feel for the characters, and then everything's going to just go to hell the next episode.
and it's already setting it up as we saw in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is excellent.
Well, and Bobby, everything going on with Bobby, because we wondered in the last few episodes, we really hadn't seen mention of his cancer. Is he
Right.
all of a sudden, one day he has cancer, he has surgery, and then boom, he's
Right.
fine.
He's on a horse the next day with you looking at the tree, and I'm like, oh, that tree must bring people together or something.
It's the relationship tree.
It is the
absolutely
relationship
does,
tree.
Yeah. It's a love tree.
I love it.
We were wondering, if that was going to come into play again. So, seeing all of the stress and everything going on with the boys and, with JR as usual and, the Venezuelans and all of this going on, it's really, we're starting to see that it's really taken a toll on him.
It's wreaking havoc on his health.
Yes.
And you're the wife, so it has to really be bothering you.
Yeah, well, especially because he wants to shoulder the whole thing himself. So it's
Right.
hard to be the support system if he doesn't let you in. So
Right.
I have to go
Right.
around behind his back here and there, taking care of him.
Which even the cancer, he didn't come out and tell you because he didn't want to. His character didn't want to stress
Exactly.
you
He
out.
doesn't
so
wanna
he does
burden me.
internalize everything. I guess like most men.
Yeah.
Yeah, the strong silent type.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But, he's trying to figure things out, with the boys and, make things. He wants peace in the family. Ultimately, that's all he really wants. So we
That's right.
see, when it starts out, we see John Ross and, why is her name escaping me right now? Elena together. And she kind of lets him know that, Bobby loves you, and he was going to go against his, his
Better
wishes
judgment.
and better judgment and drill on this land to save your life. And to see the look on his face and the way that resonates with him, it was nice to kind of see that more personal side of him to show he
Right.
has some feelings.
He was charming in that scene too. I was
He
thinking, I'm like, oh,
was.
he was like being cute with her, and he looked cute too. Don't get me twisted. But I mean, that was like a cute scene. I'm like, oh, that was like a great way
Yeah.
to start, the episode off. For
It was
sure. 'Cause
very
you could tell
cute.
it was what she was saying to him really resonated with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so he, when they're looking at the plans, because, Elena's got this business that she's doing, and they figure out that they can side drill into South Fork without having to actually drill,
On the
land.
Which is that really possible? Do you know?
It
I
is,
think
but
it
it's
is,
much
yeah.
more expensive.
Much more
But then
expensive,
I'm just
exactly.
following the script.
No, I
I'm
think
assuming.
I think
I'm
it
not
really
an
is.
expert, but I would assume going sideways is much less direct than going
That just
straight
seems-
down.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how that even works, but oh well. We need to
Well,
get
I'm
let's
sure-
get a drilling
yeah,
expert
we
in
do.
here next week.
Engineering, it's
Next
above
week.
and beyond.
It is.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wow, they have some smart kids. The maid kids are really smart. There are some smart people on this ranch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, it costs more money. So you see that after Christopher stood up for John Ross, now you see John Ross kind of sticking up for Christopher and saying, okay, well, let's try this so we can use this, the oil to pay off the Venezuelans and you don't have to give up your energy rights.
Right.
And, these stubborn boys being what they are, when John Ross and Elena are trying to explain this to Bobby, Christopher comes in,
Right. He wasn't having it at all.
No, didn't even want to hear it.
Well, because he's super on the defensive. I mean, after all that they went through, and I mean, how quickly
He
things
took a
are,
risk
right?
for
He took a
him.
complete risk for him, and now he gave up a huge part of his whole life that he's put into his own company. So of course he's protective, and then his father and everything else. So
Yeah, and he walked in and he didn't know what they were talking about. All he heard was drilling in South Fork, so he automatically thought he was still going to do it even after he'd given up his rights.
And what was the great line that Bobby said? He says, "If I need to sit you down, son, I will."
Exactly.
Yes.
That was
That's a
pretty
great
firm.
line. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, no, he took charge of that room, and then that's when he has what we come to find out is an aneurysm,
Right.
And we think it's from his cancer, but he's still cancer free, luckily.
Right.
But he gets rushed to the hospital. Everyone's there, and it kind of puts this fighting on hold for a second. Everybody takes a step back and thinks
Family's
about.
always first with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like a common enemy to join a family together, whether it's an illness or a Venezuelan.
Right. You
So
just never know.
either way, the Ewings will always stick together. If they can't fight each other, if there's an outside enemy, they'll work together to
So
fight
it's actually
that.
good timing to have a health problem because things are going to hell, and then someone has an aneurysm. Like, oh, well, we'll all come together now. Thank God.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it takes a tragedy sometimes.
Yeah,
for
sometimes
these-
it does.
But that's true with real life sometimes
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah. Sometimes, your hard-headedness, you kind of need that shake back into reality to kind of put your priorities back in line.
Right. And then the doctor sort of said that may have been from the chemotherapy, and his blood pressure was really low, and then he's just ready to
Really
jump out of the
high.
hospital.
Yeah, it was
and
really
high.
Get
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
High blood
Did I say
pressure.
high?
Yeah,
Did I
you
say
said
low?
low.
Yeah. High blood pressure.
I'm a little jet lagged.
So we see the family kind of all coming together, and Elena again explains to John Ross the severity of the situation because he didn't even know
Right.
that Bobby had cancer. So, when he realizes that, again, I mean, I have to give it up for Josh Henderson in this episode because he had to do a lot of really emotional stuff, and I think he did it really well in
Right.
this episode tonight. You
Covered
see a
on
lot
cuts on his face and everything too. That
Yeah.
even makes it more difficult, I would imagine.
Well, I think he's having kind of a dark night of the soul in a way because he's having to go against what his instinct is, which is to go for the jugular
Right.
and to put that aside and actually do the right thing. And
Right.
then, Christopher pulls at his heartstrings about the fact that Bobby's watched your back. And I think he's really having an internal struggle about what do I do in this situation? I want to make my mark, but at the same time, I want to make my woman proud.
Yeah.
And I don't want to betray the one man who stood by me and been there for my childhood. So it's a very interesting conflict, and I think he's playing it extremely well.
No, I think so too. And then, all of that, everything happening with Bobby is just kind of bringing out a lot in, these main characters to figure out, what's important to them, how are they going to do it, and how are they going to save, this family legacy from these Venezuelans. What are they going to do? And then how is JR going to fit into this whole thing?
Which he returned.
Yes, he came when John Ross went and got a hold of Bum.
Right. Who was walking down the
Hospital hallway.
hospital hallways,
Yeah.
Bum is
randomly.
just everywhere, and that's all I have to say.
He's like, I don't know where he is, but
Yeah.
he knows where everyone is.
He was
shows
looking
up.
for candy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or I thought he was maybe dressing up as Santa. You know what I mean? You put a white beard on him and he'd be good.
Yeah, and then I kicked JR out of the bedroom.
Love that. Yes,
was a
we are
great
gonna
scene.
get to that in just a
Yeah.
second. But before we even go there, we find out everything that's going on with Sue Ellen because in the last episode, she went against her better judgment for her family to save John Ross, and she bribed the coroner.
Because
And-
John Ross played at her heartstrings and said, "You've never done anything for me. This is your time." Da-da-da. And she goes and she does it.
Exactly.
And the poor
And-
lady.
Yeah.
She finds out it was for naught.
Yes.
Because Christopher walks in and saves the day, and it's definitely it's such a conundrum when you have a character that you're trying to get love, but you also are trying to pursue your own career and your own desires, and it seems like every character is up against that. Especially, I think John Ross and Sue Ellen mirror each other a little bit there. So
Yeah, because he does remind me of Sue Ellen a lot, and a little bit, of course, of JR because he wants to be JR. And what did he say? he did say something really poignant tonight. He's like, I always wanted to be him. I tried to, like, that type of deal.
Right.
And he was just so defeated at the end when he said that. And then I saw the part where he had those moments that Sue Ellen has, those really,
Vulnerable
sincere.
moments.
That's
Right.
it. Thank you. I couldn't think of that word.
And Sue
why I'm
Ellen's
good for
worked so hard to change her life and
Yeah.
to walk the side of right, as she said in the last episode.
Right.
And I think she really was torn because she also wants to be loyal to her son, because she does feel guilty for abandoning him and sending him off to Europe and, everything when he was younger.
Right.
So, I think she does the right thing as a mother. As a politician, not so much.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the rub, is you're a human being first, and
Yeah. And I think, and for John Ross, he's learned from the best. He's learned how to manipulate people from the two best manipulators, that he could possibly get that from. So it's interesting to see how all of that works, because initially, I think the three of them genuinely care about each other, but all they know how to do is manipulate one another.
Right.
It's like they can't really just come out and
They
say,
need a full therapy
I need,
session.
I
wow.
need your help, or I love you. It's more like I got to blackmail you to get to get what I want. So to see Sue Ellen and John Ross stop and think about that and really think about what's important is really, it's kind of cool as a fan to be able to see that character development.
Right.
I like to see that.
Well, then there was that whole scene with Sue Ellen and your ex-husband Harris.
Yes.
which
Wasn't that fabulous?
That was an amazing scene. It was probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole thing. First of all, I want a Sue Ellen for Governor T-shirt. I'm just putting that out there.
we have
but
bumper stickers.
Just like he's like,
It's true.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
he comes across like very poignant and everything, but like when he pulled out the bottle of wine and poured it and literally just pushed it in front of her face. I mean, that's just like so
Malevolent.
insulting. And for anyone, who has like struggled with addiction, like how rude that is to somebody. She's trying to be sober for 20 years, like you said, trying to do the right thing. And it's just, that was a crazy scene.
Yeah. And,
evil.
And he
Yeah.
wants her to launder money for him.
Right. Which I'm like,
We had
So,
to rewind that a couple
we
times.
did.
Like, what is he
Well,
asking?
it was hard to understand what he was saying right there, but he was apparently like, a politician who's a counselor, very scrutinized. I would like you to launder money for me. So I'm a little confused on like that whole scene, but whatever.
Because doesn't he have a lot of money because of who he...
I think he's just trying to play games with her or whatever.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
you were
'cause I
married
would-
to him. Maybe
yeah.
you know a little bit more than I do.
Bad sense of judgment on my part at the time. It's all a blur.
We are waiting for something. We do predictions in the show too, and one of my predictions was that you have some sort of shady past. Like there's been some setups. There's been pictures in the fire. There's been like
Yes.
this whole relationship with him needs to come a little bit more
Season
forward.
2.
Season
2. That's all I can say is season 2.
Well,
I can't wait that long.
I like the dynamic that your character's having with Sue Ellen and how she's confiding in you and coming to you for advice, and that it's very non-judgmental. And when she was struggling with this whole thing with John Ross, you told, she said, "What does that make me?" And you told her, "A mother."
Right.
Exactly.
And your advice wasn't always the best morality, quote unquote, thing. It was also just like, you are very much a Ewing, I felt too, in the discussions, like especially last week. You guys, your conversations together, and they bled over to this episode too, but you guys have some great scenes together.
The thing that I love about my relationship with Sue Ellen is that we are friends. She introduced me to Bobby. She gave me the best man of my life as far as Ann is concerned. And yet she is in the enemy camp. So it's kind of hold your friends close, but your enemies closer. So
Right.
our relationship is definitely one of sisterly bonding. And even though she's no longer married to JR, she is still family. And there is a sense of loyalty that Anne has towards family, but at the same time, she knows that she's part of that side of the family. So she kind of watches her as well. As much as she's on her side, she also knows that she could turn against my side of the family if push came to shove, if her son or her ex were in trouble. So it's kind of this interesting cat and mouse tenuous friendship that's very loyal, but if you turn against my side, I'm going after you. You
Yeah,
know? So it's kind of a nice relationship because there is that, I'm with you, sister, as long as you don't turn the knife.
Right.
Yeah.
That was actually a good analogy. It's like some people just love drama too. It's like a
Yeah.
full, like, that family, like they could just pick up and move and go somewhere else, but they're sticking by each other and also, like you said, keeping their enemies exactly close too.
But even with that last conversation, it makes you wonder: is Sue Ellen gonna pull out of the race? because of these threats from Harris. You know, he's basically telling her, if you don't do this for me, I'm going to out you with your, you know, this bribe you tried to do.
Right.
So what are you going to do?
She's in a pickle.
Yeah.
She's in a conundrum.
So all of a sudden, that glass of wine's looking pretty good about it.
Exactly. He turned up
Yeah.
the heat. And,
Right.
and when he said, I'm just going to let that breathe,
Yes.
that's what he's saying is you're going to have to sit with your thoughts now.
Right.
And you might want to drink that one.
Right.
He's so good.
Yeah,
He
he
is
is. Mitch is wonderful.
I have loved him since X-Files, you know, and every time I see him, he's always does a different character all the time. I think I saw him on Criminal Minds. He was a serial killer. And another one where he's just so great at everything he does. I
He
don't
always
think
plays nice guys for sure.
nice. Well, he's
Nice and evil.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Evil, but in such a polite way.
I know.
You know,
I know.
that's the worst.
Evil done with a smile, as we call it.
It's
The best way.
Exactly.
very calm, you know, really collected. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is how it's going to play out. Take it or leave it. Either you're going to give me what I want or I'm going to ruin your life. Pretty much
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
it. Just,
Yeah.
you know, as nice as can be.
Exactly.
That's
Too much.
awesome.
Too much.
No, but I'm really interested and curious to see what is she going to do. Is this going
Right.
to push her over the edge? Is she going to take that drink we've been wondering if she's going to take for these whole,
Right.
9 episodes?
I would say no. I mean, you just never know on Dallas anyways, but I would just say that character, in my opinion, has already been there, done that, which I would love to see her drunk falling down the stairs because I lived for that in the original series. But in my mind, I feel like, they've been there, done that. It's like, I think you can be just as crazy sober, too.
Well, I'm wondering if Anne is going to come to her rescue a little bit and try to kind of help alleviate that, because there was kind of a flash to something in the preview for the next episode where, there was kind of an unbuttoning of the shirt. What was going on there?
What? I didn't see that. I must have gone to the restroom.
Yeah, there was some sort of undressing going
There was a
on.
little bit of
was
undressing, and was that in Harris's office? Where was
Yeah.
that?
I'm not quite sure. We'll have to stay tuned for next week.
I know. So we can't ask her predictions. You'll have to tell us before you leave.
I know, but I
No,
wonder.
It's worth waiting for.
It is worth
that
waiting.
one is definitely.
You heard it here first, people.
Yes. Well,
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Thank you, Marissa.
oh yeah. Well, if you know anything about the original series, then like Dallas is famous for its cliffhangers.
Right.
So that's the thing.
Yes.
It always had such fantastic season enders that just
Waiting
nail
for season
biting.
2 is just going to be torture.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so excited to see the new scripts. I'm chomping at the bit.
Because you start in September, which isn't
We
that too
do.
far
We
away.
do.
So
And the writers are writing now.
do you shoot everything in Dallas, or do you
Yes.
shoot some stuff here?
Yeah,
So
no,
you shoot
everything's
everything
there.
We were wondering that last week.
Yeah. So is it like on the street too in the city, or is it like do they have sound stages?
We have sound stages that are the interiors of South Fork, because South Fork itself we only use for exteriors because of the
Right.
ranch, and the interiors are kind of a museum. So and then we have some practical sets, like the set of Harris's office is actually in the new Opera House. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. We talked
Yeah,
about
and
how
then
gorgeous
Sue
that
Ellen's
is.
office is another, high rise close to downtown,
Right.
and so there's some practicals that
The
we
quality of it, we talked about this before, but the quality of all the different shoots are just unbelievable. Like
We have
it's such a beautiful screen. Everything is beautiful on screen.
We have amazing production designer and amazing art director.
It's not cheap, people. It's not cheap.
No.
No.
TNT put some money into this. They
Yes.
definitely did.
Yeah, they
it's
did.
beautiful, and the way they've done it is.
And
I'm
our
so happy.
producer Ken Topolsky knows how to stretch a dollar. So as much money as it looks, it's not as it's obviously,
Right.
but he does an amazing job. He does an amazing
Well, it
job.
shows.
Great.
It definitely
Well,
shows.
if you like to stretch your dollars, like I know I do sometimes, and I don't
Exactly.
want to get out of the house, you can do, if you are an online shopper, like I love to online shop, then you can help out your favorite AfterBuzz TV crew by going to our site, AfterBuzzTV.com, and clicking on our Amazon banner, and you can shop directly from our site. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just one extra click, and we get a little kickback for it, so you're helping us keep these fantastic shows on, and we get to bring in special guests, to come talk
Exactly.
about your favorite shows.
Exactly. By private
So-
jet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was him by private jet, not me. I took Burbank Boulevard. And And I have products on Amazon. So
What do you have on
products.
Amazon? What do you have?
I have 3 yoga DVDs for women.
Oh,
who
you
are-
teach yoga, right?
Yeah, who are trying to get pregnant. So.
Oh, very nice. So see, you can go to AfterBuzzTV.com, click on our Amazon banner, and you can check out one of Brenda's DVDs for yoga.
That's right.
And you can probly buy Dallas season 1 soon
Yes.
too.
And
there you go.
yeah. So see, it helps. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
My Amazon purchase I'm wearing next week for the finale.
Oh, you told me about that. I'm excited
Very
to see
excited.
that.
You're
Yes.
gonna live.
You're gonna let
You're gonna live. It's so cute.
Is it a Dallas memorabilia thing?
It may be.
Is it a cowboy hat?
It may be. You'll have to find out next week. I don't want to spoil it.
I know. We've got to all figure out what we're gonna do for the season.
Yeah,
finale.
none
We
of
have
us
to do
replied to
something
her
fun.
email.
By the way,
I know.
thank you.
I thought about
Thank
it.
you.
But
I was
we'll
like,
figure
no love.
something out. I have an oil derrick necklace because I'm from Texas, and my dad actually worked in the oil fields. He worked on the rigs.
Wow.
So I have an oil derrick necklace that I wore last week. I just didn't wear it today.
Classy.
So yeah,
Nothing but classy.
That's the
at
way I roll.
AfterBuzz.
So this reconciliation, which is, we said this was a really emotional episode. Everybody's kind of, coming together. And a lot of that from John Ross, we see, like, as you were saying when he was talking about his dad, that, he loves his dad, but, he's just wanted to spend time with this man. And, he's realizing that, JR is so wrapped up in his own vision of what's important to him that there's no room for anyone else. And he gets, kind of teary and
A lot of daddy issues.
a
on this
lot
show.
of it,
Yeah.
lot of it. And then, he and Christopher get together and decide to go into business together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great scene
With
too.
Elena.
Yeah,
That was
with
a really funny
Elena,
scene.
kind of putting their personal issues aside and doing what's best for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're sitting around talking about how, the history has always been, one on each side, and they want to change that.
And it's really for Bobby. They do it for Bobby because the one thing he wants is peace. And
Yep.
so he said, wait a minute, we don't have to do it the way they did it. We can reinvent the wheel and do something else.
Yes,
So-
which is so great to see. And I loved Bobber's reaction to that. He's like, really?
Yeah, he was like, really?
And he said
Really?
it twice.
Yeah.
He was like, really? Yeah.
It's great.
That was a great scene.
But also there was a reconciliation between Bobby and JR.
Yes.
Yes.
Which was, because John Ross goes to, before that, Christopher tells John Ross, I will let you drill. I'll be okay with the drilling if you get your dad to sign over the
Right.
land back to mine.
We'll do the sideways
And-
drill.
Yeah, and I'll be okay with it. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Right. And we'll just go. We'll just go on through.
New favorite thing, the sideways drill.
It's
He's going to make up a dance soon.
Exactly. It's gonna be trending on Twitter by the
There'll
end of the
be
day.
a little cocktail, the
Hashtag
sideways
Yeah.
sideways drill. That's a good one. Like a sideways screwdriver or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Instead of vodka orange juice, it's orange juice vodka.
There you go.
So,
It's getting hot in here.
it is. I know I'm starting to sweat. What's going on? So JR kind of has a moment after Sue Ellen comes in and slaps him.
Right.
And, kind of tells him that she's, tired of him ruining, John Ross's life. That, she and Bobby are used to it. That's enough. But he's done ruining John Ross's life.
Right.
And,
You've done enough already.
and she tells him, you have, when you got depressed and you realized you had nothing. And then now, and he says, oh, well, I'm back. I'm going to be bigger than ever. And she tells him, and you're still going to have nothing.
right.
Exactly.
And I think that is finally was the light bulb going off in his head,
Right.
where we see him with that deed, and he actually signed it.
The funny thing about JR and his character, like whenever he's like pushed in the corner or he feels uncomfortable, even when he was like first talking to Bobby and Bobby's, aneurysm screaming, he like looks at him and like whenever he's uncomfortable, he like says a joke, which I'm sort of
Yeah.
the same way. Like he sort of says a joke or he like has like a smile or like, oh, I'll talk to you when your brain's better or something like that. So I
Yeah.
love those scenes because like you can tell he's so afraid to show emotion that instead he sort of just makes and says one of his, signature lines.
I love it when he says, well, if you die, I'll get it back.
Yeah.
That too.
You know,
Yeah, so
it's
whatever.
just,
Yeah.
it's just temporary.
Exactly.
Well, and I like how, Anne knows the dynamic between the two. She wants to protect Bobby. And, when JR first gets there, as you had mentioned earlier, that you were like, get out of here. This is all your
Let's
fault.
hear the line. Let's hear the
Say
line.
the line.
Get out. Get out.
And you
goes-
chase him down the stairs.
That's right. Calling him a sociopath.
Which was hysterical. And then deliver the last line,
Oh,
the heart line.
And I said, if you can't come anywhere near Bobby's room, I'll shoot you. And since you have no heart, It'll have to be somewhere more vital.
I hear a third Emmy nomination. A third Emmy nomination.
But what I love is the ad-libbed line as he's walking away. That woman's crazy. You know? That wasn't in the script.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You know,
That's
he's
great.
just awesome. He's
But you
just
were saying in
awesome.
the screening room, you had a line with JR that was not in the episode. Was that in that scene right there? Or was that
No,
later?
there was actually a full scene after he signs over the deed to the ranch to Bobby. He's having a whiskey or bourbon or whatever he is out on the porch, and I walk out and I'm standing there and I'm watching him, and I said, "You finally did right by Bobby." And there's a reconciliation between Ann and JR. So there were 3 reconciliations in this episode. I don't know if it'll end up on the DVD or not. But that was such a beautiful scene. But I think we were over on time, and it was such an intricate scene and a little bit lengthy, so I think it got cut.
There's so much content. I'm sure that happens a lot on this
Yeah.
because there's so many characters, and there's the old cast, the new cast, and the storylines are so convoluted. Like, I'm sure that happens a lot.
It does. I mean, it is a lot to cover, and all of us have full storylines. It's not like any of us are just service characters. We're all deeply involved in
Even
the
just
story.
going back to the first episode, that was so much material. I remember we watched it and we had to cover it, and we were like, where do we even start? Like, who's
Oh,
who
the
in there?
first
'cause they had 2 episodes.
It was
Yes,
2
and it was
episodes,
a
and
lot.
that was the
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was like a weird time, and we were just like, "This is like what topic?" Like, it was a lot.
It's because it's so
Doesn't
interconnected.
that seem like so long ago
It
and
really
far
does.
away?
It really does. 9 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe it's almost done. It's crazy. But this show does have some of the best lines. I
For
mean,
sure.
even when Sue Ellen walks into JR's room and he says, "You're gonna help me see Bobby because wife number 3 won't let me in and she's packing heat."
She's blocking the door and packing.
yes.
That is so funny. Yeah, you're pretty badass on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like
Yeah.
being badass.
Carrying the gun, getting crazy.
Love that. We've talked about this before, like how your character is such a strong woman, yet nurturing at the same time. And you're just not afraid when that intruder was in there. You don't even go get Bobby. You're by yourself with your gun. I will shoot you.
Right.
Love it.
What I love is when the sheriff goes, Mrs. Ewing, next time he comes, just shoot him. And I'm like, oh, I will. It's like, but this is Texas. Like, I will? I didn't bat an eye.
Yeah,
I actually was hoping that I could have shot that night, but we did that all in one take.
Oh,
Really?
I thought
really?
and I was thinking of the reason I didn't shoot, and I thought we were going to get reverse coverage because there would have been a beat there that would have said why I didn't shoot. But we didn't get that, so it's one of those things in retrospect that you go, I should have just shot in the air. I should have fired a warning shot or something because
Just to be crazy.
yeah.
Just to show that you're not playing around.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm not just shooting bottles.
No, but it's just really great. So it's nice to see that the boys all come together. I mean, we'll see how long that lasts.
It'll last. It's over.
It'll last this one.
Right. It has to be crazy. Dallas tradition.
It's a tenuous piece.
I think it's gonna rev it up for season 2. I think they'll be good, and then season 2, I think a lot is good. I think that's what they're doing, especially this Ewing energy is gonna rev that up. I'm excited.
Do you know
for
what I
it.
loved about the original series? Actually, was when they actually would come together for a common issue, like because they would be so like not speaking, and then something would happen with the family, and they would all like get revenge on someone, and I would like live for those moments. So
Yeah.
The best.
So
Right.
maybe that'll
because you don't
happen
want to
now.
battle one of them. Never mind the whole family against you, all standing there
No,
with
it's
Ann with the shotgun in the front.
I know.
Back up, baby.
it was like watching the scenes though tonight with Bobby and JR. Like I teared up, and those scenes to me seemed like they were very real, and how they really were with each other, and they've known each other for over 30 years, if I'm correct. So doing scenes like that, and wasn't Larry sick while
Yes.
he was on set?
So those
going
lines
through-
could have been reversed.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
In real life.
And
We
it
actually
was
read
really-
that last on Entertainment Weekly last week, and they said that was it, that it may have been that scene.
Yeah,
even.
but yeah, I
he
think
was
that's the
wearing
scene.
earplugs because he didn't want to hear JR say those lines. Cause
It was during when he had the aneurysm in the hospital.
Okay.
Because he didn't want tears rolling down the side of his face while JR was talking to him while he was in the hospital.
That's so touching.
Yeah.
But
I
you
guess
know,
he's cancer free now. That's what we heard.
absolutely.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah. Clean bill of health. And he is amazing.
He's
He
so
is so
sharp.
strong. But I love their relationship, and I commented to you guys during the screening that picture of them going fishing was actually them going fishing during the original series. These two men are best of friends.
Right.
So it's nice that we have so much of the original kind of relationships to pull from. And you guys asked about the Miss Ellie and Jock picture behind
Yes.
the fireplace. That is actually new. But it was
the
taken,
painting.
the painting, but it was taken from other pictures from the original series. But
Right.
it was made to look like it was an original. It's really quite emotional when we see it there.
We hear on so many other shows that, like, you know, the cast, for whatever reason, don't get along, and there's like bickering, and there's like egos and stuff like that. I'm not going to mention any previous shows you may have been on, but
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld, maybe?
They got along great.
No, but I mean, it seems like the three of them, like the Fab Three, that was my previous name, that they all like, you know, love each other and like really have a great
We
deal of
all love
respect.
each other.
Yeah.
The old crew and the new crew, we're like thick as thieves.
Seems like you guys
all
have
of
so
us.
much fun together.
We have a blast.
And it just looks like such great chemistry. I think everybody fits in so well. And, you know, again, that was one of the things that a lot of the critics talked about, and we had talked about in the first time we reviewed the show was, you know, are these younger characters going to be able to live up to what Dallas was? Because when, you know, the original series was out, the characters were already set a little bit older. So they're already, you know, younger and having to deal with all of these things. And I think that it's, you know, it's definitely, they're holding their own, which
Yeah.
is really great.
I think they are too. I think
Yeah.
they're doing a great job.
Although I miss Marta, Crazy Marta.
Oh, wasn't she fabulous?
She was amazing.
Leonore was amazing.
She died too soon.
I
I
know.
know. I loved that scene where she tied him up. And he's like, what happened? And she's just counting the money at the safe.
I know.
Yeah.
But no one ever really dies on Dallas, so you never know.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think she might be dead.
She might be dead.
I think
I
she
don't
might
know.
be dead.
She didn't get that bitch, but too many
She was
lines.
great, though. She was
She
great.
was.
We really loved
she was
having her.
fantastic. Well, and one thing that we would really ask of you guys, if you're fans of our show and of Dallas, is to please go to iTunes and download our podcast and let us know. Are you okay? Let us know.
I'm so unfamiliar with the microphone.
She just got knocked
I've
unconscious by the
only
mic.
worked with one for 8 years.
Brenda Strong unconscious on the table at AfterBuzz. We need some more press.
Yes, you can go to iTunes and you can comment on what you think about this whole thing. We don't always beat our guests when they come in.
I was going to say they beat themselves,
They
but that
beat-
sounds inappropriate.
It is totally inappropriate.
But yes, if you could, we appreciate all of the comments that you guys have left so far. And I was trying to pull up a lot of the history comments are great because, you know, the Dallas fans are so invested in this show. So we do get a lot of comments kind of reminding us about the history of this show, which is so great. So
They
we
have
want
such a great
to.
memory.
Yeah, they really, really do.
Yeah.
Ironclad.
Yeah, there is a listener who talked to us on iTunes and told us all the background, and it was crazy on how one of our predictions is probably true about Rebecca.
Right.
And then John Ross and Christopher really are cousins.
They're actually blood related, which I had
Yeah.
forgotten about.
I
wait,
totally
what?
forgot
They're
about that.
actually blood related.
Christopher and who?
and John Ross. Because of some other side stuff. I'm trying to pull it up.
Sue
but-
Ellen's sister, who shot JR, which
Is
shot
his birth mother.
Yes, because at
Yes.
first they thought JR was the father, but it wasn't. And I can't remember. Hutch is the. I could be wrong
mean,
on
I'm
that.
delirious.
Never mind.
I mean, there's so
But it was-
They
so
are
much of that.
cousins.
Yeah, they are cousins for
They
sure.
actually are blood related. So I mean, so that's one of the great things. So continue, please go to iTunes and comment, leave your comments, and let us know if there's things that we forget or things that you remember from the original series that we don't. So definitely, it helps us out. So we appreciate that. But it's just, Rebecca, this whole thing, I knew Rebecca and Tommy were not brother and sister. I knew
know.
it, I
Just
knew it, I
Looks
knew
too
it.
innocent.
Yes, she called that out from the beginning. She's like,
Really?
she's like
There's
her
no-
brother.
I
I'm
was
like, there's
like-
no way.
I
Really? Good for
always
you.
thought there was something a little too creepy about those two. Because it's like when it's your really brother and sister, you don't necessarily say sis and bro all the time.
Right.
Like that kind of called it out for me. It's like,
Interesting.
I don't know. But now, and tonight we learned that the whole thing was her idea.
Right.
Yeah,
Which-
she was the mastermind, but
was-
she had a change of heart.
She
She
did.
actually did fall in love with Christopher, and she does want to do right by him, and she is protecting him, as we saw. So
So
She
the
loves-
Khan fell in love with her Mark.
Right. It's like
There
falling,
you
in
go.
love- it's
There
like
you
falling
go.
in love
There
with
you
the
go.
prison guard if you're in jail, like that kind of thing. She always
and you fall in love with your captor.
exactly fall in love with your captor.
So Christopher's her captor? Where are you
Probably.
going with this?
Probably the captor. No, but I love that she always she was staring at the zip drive forever. Now she was staring at the key card, and that was like a whole scene too.
Well, battling with herself. Do I want to
Yeah.
continue to be the bad guy, or do I really want to have this life?
Well, and Anne was the one in that scene where she said, "You have a choice here. It's not just Tommy. It's you. What are you doing?" So she said, "No, you're accountable for your actions."
She was saying, I think it was last week or the week before, that she didn't really like how your character was talking to Rebecca so much. She was like, if my mom was talking to my ex and like going out to lunch or coffee and having high tea, like there was issues with that. I could see that too, but what's your take on that?
Well, my take is that if you remember from the very first or second episode, Anne gives Rebecca the Ewing cookbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she says, I was an outsider too. Mm-hmm. So there is kind of an identification that Anne has with Rebecca from being an outsider. We don't know where she feels like that. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's not in the Ewing family, but it's somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So it's very possible that she's doing a lot of projecting on Rebecca from her own past and her own not belonging somewhere. And so there is a lot of, she's trying to make peace again because that's Bobby's number one need. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to make peace in the family because this separation between Christopher and Rebecca is really not making the family happy. So she's trying to do the right thing.
Another scene that we live for too.
So were you throwing me under the bus last week? That's what I'm getting.
She's still
Only a
not
little.
pleased.
I was just saying. Well, my whole thing about it was that I can understand like trying to bring them together, and we don't know Anne's past
And there's
all of
babies.
that, and there's
the babies.
always the babies, but there's also the fact that this person was trying to steal from this family, and I just felt that it was
That's
too
why I said
forgiving too fast.
She had to establish trust again. We don't trust her anymore.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. I just it was a little too nice, too fast for me. But
I just
but I
think,
get it.
I think Anne sees something in her that Anne saw in herself when she was young, like her.
Because Anne was obviously a bad girl too.
Something's
something.
going
Her husband
on
was
with Anne.
bad. I want to see that file. We also were saying that Bobby's like, I'm not going to read this and toss it into the fire. We all said we would read everything and then say the same thing, throw it in the fire, and be like, wait, why aren't you telling me yet? Because I know what's in there.
Read it and pretend like we
Wow,
didn't.
remind me not to tell you any secrets. Wow.
Well, what about you? If you found something about your significant other, would you look into the thing, or would you throw it into the fire and run out of the room and have a Bardot?
I wouldn't look.
No?
I wouldn't look. I would want them to tell
We'll get the
me.
real answer when we turn off the mic.
I think there's so much mistrust these days.
No, there is, and I do appreciate the fact that Rebecca is trying to turn around. She does want to have this better life. She because now she's going to be a mother. She's going to have to set an example for another, for two living people. She has to, nurture
She's
these
also
lives.
a legit con too, because the great scene was when she was in the safe deposit box at the bank, and there was money from all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Different passports,
Passports.
a
Credit
gun.
cards.
I mean, so like she is, she obviously has a very, very big past.
Well, yeah, where are her parents? Where what is that whole connection? What if she's connected to those Venezuelans somehow? Who knows?
Right. Maybe she's Marta's sister.
What if she is?
That would be amazing.
I love this. This is fabulous. I want to come back next
You
week.
should
You can come back whenever
Yes.
you want. And for sure, next season you have to come back to.
I already have a prediction on that.
I
one.
know.
I have a crazy prediction, but my predictions are usually crazy.
Well, I got the I'm gonna
Yeah. Well, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll get into that, and then we'll talk about you and all the fabulous things that you're doing aside from this wonderful show.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AfterBuzz TV. And why? Because AfterBuzz TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows, like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AfterBuzz TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AfterBuzz TV goodness. Check them out, give them a holler, and tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
Gotta love that woolly bear. I love it every time I hear it.
Me too. And it sort of matches the show.
It does.
Yeah,
It does
exactly.
with a little twang. I like it.
Oh,
I
okay.
like it. No, it was that good.
Anne wasn't listening.
I had my headphones off. I was taking a breather.
Taking a breather. Okay, so the very last scene, our cliffhanger for tonight, somebody gets shot. Who do
Right.
you think it was?
Right. Who shot JR? Go
Well,
ahead.
wait
Here
a
we go. She's
second
about to get
before-
crazy.
well-
She's leaning back in the chair.
Wait a second.
Hold on a minute.
We need to talk about Tommy and who he was working with and working
Oh, that's
for
right.
before we get into that, which I find very interesting.
Cliff Barnes' henchman.
Yes.
What's his name?
Frank.
Frank, but that's
Yeah.
not his real name because
Right.
JR went in and
Yeah, and Cliff found him in the slums of somewhere and like raised him as his own. But he's not
Which is
one
a
of
great
his
storyline.
yeah.
He raised him as his own.
raised him as his own, but he's not going to get anything
Right.
at the end of the day. So I think he wants those methane rights.
Right.
That's what he wants, and he's working with Tommy.
Right. Which causes earthquakes.
Yes.
Or tsunamis.
Well,
And he knows about it
Which we love
because
that storyline,
Cliff
too.
already asked for it. So he already knows about it. So
Right.
he's trying to, kind of underhandedly take something away from Cliff too. Because Cliff had already said he wanted to invest in it. Christopher already said no. So he's already aware of all of this.
Right.
So he's trying to kind of kind of pull it out from underneath him too.
Well, the Cliff Barnes thing, I think, is going to come out in the next
Oh,
episode.
absolutely.
It has to, right?
Yeah.
Like what was going on in Vegas. I mean, something has to come out.
Yeah.
Gambling. That's my prediction.
I know. They want to bring
Gambling.
gambling to Texas. That
Gambling.
is not what
you
Texas
won
needs.
South Fork on blackjack. After all this,
That's funny.
So, but Tommy wasn't able to get the plans. So Frank is like, lose my, forget my name. I'm done with you. I no longer want to have anything to do with you. This sets Tommy off. He goes to Rebecca's apartment
Backhands her.
and
There's
definitely
a lot of backhanding on this show.
Well, and this goes into
Slapping.
what we talked
Yeah.
about the possible miscarriage because
Right.
she just got thrown around in that apartment. She was fighting for her life. He was at one point looked like he was trying to strangle her.
Right.
He was just really, really upset. And as he's beating her, everything's coming out. This was your idea. I was fine living my life until you came in and enticed me with all this millions of dollars, had me go
Right.
live in China and do all of this stuff. And it's a full-on fight. She's fighting
Right.
for her life. She goes, she finds her purse, she gets her gun, and then they have and then it's the classic struggle. The gun goes off,
on the teddy bear.
and we see
That
the
they
blood
just
on the
bought.
monkeys.
Yeah.
On
Was
the
it a-
twin
was it a monkey?
monkeys.
Oh, it was a monkey. I thought
Yeah.
it was a teddy bear. That's amazing.
Because it was very emotional, but I didn't think about the monkeys until you guys said it.
On the twin monkeys.
Exactly.
Now that's even sadder.
I know. It's like,
Or more sad, right?
yeah, more so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have to, now we're left with who got shot, and is somebody actually dead, or are they just wounded? Like what happened? Because there's a lot of blood splatter.
Well, it looked like in the previews there was a body being rolled up in plastic,
Mm-hmm.
but they were rolling it kind of weird, like a
Well,
tortilla
how
roll.
often do you
Yeah.
roll bodies? I mean, really, is there a better way to roll them than others?
Actually, I just shot a pilot at a funeral home in Dallas. I swear. I'll email you the link. It's really, really
Okay,
funny.
so I guess you do know.
Yeah.
I
so
don't
now
know.
you do know how to roll bodies.
I really do.
We
I may
all
have
are
cremated
experts
someone,
of
too.
little things here you would
Yeah,
never
you just
know.
never know. Yeah.
What I love about what you just described was the score. Michael Robin, our executive producer, who also did the pilot, shot this episode. And When the Man Comes to Town
Yes.
was the underscore for this, and it was so perfect.
Right.
Well, we talk about that all the time, how the music on this show is so fantastic because it's not, it's not in any way kind of cheesy or,
Intrusive.
Right.
it fits so well with everything going on in every scene. I think we bring it up on every
Right,
show.
Dora.
How
It's one of
great
He's
the
a
music
master
is.
at that.
It's one of the few shows where like the music almost is a character. Like it really like makes you feel better. At the underscore of the song you were saying was, we haven't really heard that much through the season. I thought it was hysterical. It was like the perfect song.
Yeah, it was great. So we see this, even we already know that this guy's crazy, but then, he takes it to the next level. And, Rebecca can hold her own. She was fighting him off pretty well. And, so
She knows what's going on.
she knows what
She's well trained.
She is. So, we'll see what happens
We'll
with
see.
that. But I don't know. I love this show. I'm sad that it's only one more episode, and I don't know.
I know. Oh well. know.
More.
We'll have to get the DVD and watch all the behind the scenes.
I know.
Yeah,
we could
absolutely.
we could do a DVD recap.
Yes, we'll do a whole special recap of the whole
Exactly.
season, and you'll have to come back and hang out.
I'd love to.
And
I
we'll do
can't
all
wait to
this-
see the DVDs.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
All the extra scenes that we didn't get to see will be in there too.
Right.
Oh, that's going to be great.
So is there anything fun you can tell us about, like, being on set, any kind of antics, anything else that we might have missed, or anything we should be looking out for, any teasers?
Oh, what? Okay. What first?
It's a loaded
all of
question.
it, all of
loaded
it.
question. Let's start with
Loaded, back to guns. No, what was so funny was watching this episode, I was looking at our bedroom because that's where Bobby's spending a lot of time, and I see the stars, kind of that.
Which we've talked about the stars.
Really?
We have.
Yes.
We make fun of the stars.
Okay, but what you don't know is Access Hollywood had come to interview us on set, and we have a fabulous set design. And our bedroom's kind of off the main kitchen, and I hadn't seen it. And they said, "Oh, give us a tour of Bobby and Ann's bedroom." So I was like, "Okay, I've never seen it before, but sure, I'll take you on a tour." So I walk in, and I'm taking it all in. I see the stars over the bed, and I was like, "Oh, great, Texas stars. That all makes sense." And branding irons, and all of a sudden I noticed there's a saddle and a whip at the bottom of our bed.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, wonder who's riding who.
Oh, Lord.
I don't, and every time we would move it out to shoot a scene, somehow it would magically come back in. It was like,
Anne's a freak.
I'm just
Love
saying
it.
there might be some,
Maybe there was some sort of sex slave thing with Harris. And that's sort of like, where that came from.
there's a riding crop and, and a
Nice.
saddle in our bedroom. And so
Another
that's
thing,
something
just
you
look-
didn't know before.
Another thing, looking at your, amazing resume, for sci-fi fans, you were in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, Starship Troopers 1 and 2, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. Like,
Yeah.
you were like Little Miss Sci-Fi. And there's 2 other characters on Dallas that were in Star Trek alum.
Oh,
PS.
interesting. I was a huge Star Trek fan growing up, and I actually have the scars to prove it. When I was 6, I fell off my driveway, and I got 26 stitches on my
wow.
right inner knee. And I actually did an episode of Boston Legal, and so I got to show William Shatner. And I was playing kind of a sexy judge, so I said, "I have something to show you." So I started to lift up my robe, and he was like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, no, it's not what you think. I got wounded because of you, because I was pretending to be Captain Kirk
That's so
on
funny.
the bridge of the Starship Enterprise.
I live.
Yeah, so I
crazy.
am a Trekkie. I'm a geek.
Me too. I'm
Really?
a geek too.
Oh,
Total
oh,
geek.
Okay.
I love it.
I just recently did Star Tours. They've revamped it. It's fabulous.
Oh,
But
you
now
just went on
that's-
the ride. Yeah, I
yeah.
went on that too at Disneyland.
Yeah, and they have like 54 different versions or
Yeah, it's like
something.
every time you go on, it's a different ride. I
Oh,
love it.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going there in 2
They're building a
weeks.
Star Trek theme park in Europe.
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Okay, we're gonna have. I'm sorry. Okay.
Set the shield down. Anyways,
Okay. No, but you've been on like a lot of fabulous shows, like a
Yeah.
lot of great shows. Is there anything else that you're doing on your downtime? I know you guys are about to start shooting, but
We're about to start shooting, and we're going to Europe to do the European press tour in London. And I just finished a play. I just did a really wonderful play at the Odyssey called Grace Notes and Anvils. And it's about grief, because we don't talk about grief in this culture. So it was an entertaining, fun, poignant evening. And that was fun. And I'm just gearing up to get back to Dallas. So it's happening so fast. And now with the Emmys coming, I'm like, wait, I don't
Yeah.
have
you're like,
time.
what's going on?
So I was literally packing boxes today.
How long do you have to move to Dallas for?
We're going to be there 8 months out of the year.
Oh, wow.
That's a long shoot.
So yeah. So it's a relocation for
yeah.
sure.
Did you feel any sort of pressure, like, because Bobby's had some significant women in his life, and like obviously the fans loved Pam for a long time. Like coming into this role, like, did you have any sort of like, I better bring it,
Trepidation?
I better bring it, because these
Bring it
fans are
up.
so loyal.
Oh yeah, no, I was very aware that the fans are fiercely loyal, especially to the Pam Bobby storyline, because they're the Romeo and Juliet of their
Right.
time. They are the couple that everyone wanted to be, and star-crossed lovers and the whole thing. But I think what I realized is I'm not that. Our relationship is a mature, loving, adult, contemporary relationship. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very different. It holds a different weight
Right.
in the Ewing family. We are now the matriarch and patriarch. So as much as I knew I had big shoes to step into, I wasn't coming in as the ingenue.
Right.
You
Right.
know, we're a mature, and we've been married for 7 years. So it's not like, okay, the first episode's going to be us on our honeymoon.
Right.
Yeah.
No, these people know and
They're
love each other.
established.
They're established. She's part of the family. There's no question about it. She runs the show,
Mm-hmm.
you
You're
know.
not going to be showing up in an SL Mercedes with your top down screaming like Pam.
Hopefully not.
Pam did
Although
that
I
a lot.
may end up in the pool at some point. I don't know.
Not a bad gig.
As long as I have an evening count on.
Exactly,
I think
exactly.
Or was that
That-
the other D show?
That's the-
Yeah.
That is
Oh.
the other D show.
Oh, yeah.
That happened a lot.
Yeah.
I think it happened
It
in
happened
like
in Dallas
every
for
like
sure,
major
though.
show
Yeah.
of that time. You had to be in the pool in an evening gown. It was-
Charlene Tilton was always in that pool posing with her bikini.
So yes, I did have some pressure going in, but I also knew that my role was going to be different, and
Right.
and luckily Patrick and I just hit it off right from the get go, and immediately started working together and feeling like we feel like an old pair of slippers, and literally it just felt like we had been married
That's
for
great.
years.
So
So
it comes naturally then.
yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky.
Well, that's great.
love it.
Well, let's do a little bit of news and gossip, and then we'll get into our predictions.
Perfect.
What do you got? What do you got?
AfterBuzz TV News.
A lot of stuff is going on.
I can see.
Oh, we're still on.
I know. I'm noticing how the women do their hair so that they look pretty. I'm new at this, so I went. Oh wait, I've got to put my hair.
You look fabulous. You look fabulous.
Yes, fabulous all the time.
Well, according to Star Pulse, which is, a reputable source, that Linda Gray is urging fans to contact the show's producers so that she can be in every episode, because she's not a happy camper that she's not in every single episode, which, let's write the producers. She put her in every episode. Give her what she wants. But who else wanted a writing campaign? Charlene Tilton.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just so tired. I have to keep writing all these letters.
I
So.
know.
Linda Gray, work it out. Then Jordana Brewster, she said that she would never live in Dallas for real, although she loves the city of Dallas, but she feels that the people there always dress up, and she's more of like a jeans, casual kind of girl, running around screaming. And then on The Talk, was it today?
Oh yeah, I saw Patrick Duffy on
Was
the
on The
Talk
Talk. Your
today.
husband. Your
Yes,
husband.
he was on the Talk today, and I thought it was really funny because they put him up against one of the other hosts on Who Knows Dallas Better. She was like an avid fan of the original series and really hardcore, and I thought it was really fun that he only got one question right.
Yeah, I've been talking about Desperate Housewives for 8 years.
Uh-huh.
I know nothing about the
show.
trivia on the show. I played the game and I was
Terrible.
awful.
Yeah, but I thought it was so funny, and his answer was, "Well, wait, was I in that scene? If I'm not in it, I don't know anything
Right, he
about
doesn't know
it."
at all.
Exactly.
Just really, really
Exactly.
funny. But I thought that was just really cute that he only got one answer right.
And that's the news, people.
So predictions. What do we think is going to happen?
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
And the lights go
Yes,
off, like,
lights
and
go and
everything.
I love that. You are now in the Twilight Zone.
Yes, welcome to the predictions of Dallas.
So, what is your big prediction, Dorinda? What do you think is going to happen?
Because you lean back, so you must have a
Yes.
big one. So lay it on us.
Oh, I believe Rebecca is a Barnes. I really do. I believe she's a Barnes. And that's just, once again.
I'm looking at Ann for any sort of
Yeah.
I'm
reaction.
going, well, she was in the barn when she told
exactly.
So she's close.
Yeah, I
to being
think
the-
her and Cliff Barnes are related somehow. I don't know how. It's only because, and once again, I want to say thank you to the iTunes reviewer. I was like, that makes sense because when her nose was bleeding and everything like that.
That was because she was pregnant.
Yeah,
but wait,
pregnant, but it
what
goes
would the
back
nose bleeding
to.
have to do with
Well,
Barnes?
there's
Does he get
some
bloody
kind of
noses?
disease that the Barnes family have.
Really?
Yes. Yes, there's a disease. I don't know what the name
It's
of
called
the disease.
greed.
That
Yes. And they don't have a lot of money, they bleed.
Oh, now
I
we're
believe
rhyming because they need
It's so damn hot in here.
delirium. Has kicked in.
too. No, but I do. I think
No,
that
that's a
she's
good
going to be.
prediction.
Yeah, I think she's going to be related to Cliff Barnes somehow. Maybe a daughter or can't be a niece, but somehow related.
Interesting.
But her parents died.
Yeah, I think.
But wouldn't that make her related to Christopher, though?
Yeah, so that would be weird.
So that would be kind of.
Well, not really, because she wouldn't. No, not really, because Christopher's adopted.
Yeah, Pamela didn't have Christopher.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
adopted
but
Christopher.
I thought
There was something.
there was something when somebody mentioned something that Cliff was actually Christopher's uncle
Maybe just
or something, or maybe it was just
that's
that.
because Pam adopted him. And
Okay.
Pam was his.
Okay,
His
but I thought
sister.
there was. Oh, maybe I'm just
Sister.
thinking
Thank
that
you.
because the whole blood related thing with John Ross, that they're actually blood related. There's so much going on in the
Well,
Trippy family.
you know I'm known for my weird predictions. So I read, which I didn't really know this, that you can have twins and they can be two different fathers. Because like the egg splits if you have sex with another guy right afterwards, which she
I have
seems a
read
little
about that
hoish.
too.
What?
What if Tommy's one of the fathers and Christopher's the other father? That would be.
But they
Would
already
they go
did the
that
paternity
route?
test, though.
No, but those paternity tests can be wrong. Ask my mother. I'm just kidding.
That's interesting.
That would be
Spoiler.
funny. Yeah, spoiler alert.
That's definitely.
You know me, I'm always twisted.
I don't know.
We can't ask you for predictions. Or
No.
we can because you can just spill.
No. You guys aren't paying me enough money to spill. I'm sorry.
She likes her job.
I have water. They give me water. That's it.
You got water? We're drinking vodka over here.
Did you not get the right cup?
Okay, I'm definitely not coming back unless I have something stronger.
Yes, we'll take care of that next time. What's your prediction?
So, I still think that there's going to be some sort of miscarriage, and she's going to try to get herself re-pregnant really quickly, or something like that, to keep this
Re-pregnant?
family. Like
Is that
to
a
try to like.
technical term?
It's not a technical term. It's my made-up term. But I don't know.
Who's shot? Who do you think is shot, real quick?
I think Tommy's done. I think Tommy's
Dead?
shot. I think Tommy's, if not dead,
What
he's
if the
like
babies?
on.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
You never
Well,
know.
Something might
she
have
got
happened
shot
to the
into-
baby.
I think there's going to be something where she loses the babies. I just kind
maybe
of
Tommy
I think
shot
that.
and his baby's dead. And Christopher's baby's alive.
Maybe it's the monkeys.
That's true.
It's the monkey.
It just shot the monkey. It didn't even hit a real person.
Isn't that a song? I shot the monkey.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
I think you're making up songs now. I make up words, you make up songs.
I'm
I shot the sheriff.
Yeah.
Shot the monkeys.
Well, thank
yeah.
you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been we've had a great time. Thank you,
Yes,
Brenda,
it's been
for coming
so
by.
much
So much fun. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, and you can follow me at Kellie with an IE079.
And Brenda _Strong.
And you have a website too for your yoga
Oh,
stuff?
www.fertility.com.
Fertility.
Fertility,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
there
right. I
you go.
forgot. And I'm. You can find me at Twitter at Ryan A. Carillo.
And you can find me at Twitter at Lula Cherry Films.
Lula.
You love saying that.
Lula.
So thanks again, and make sure, to download us on iTunes, rate and comment, let us know what you thought about the show, join in the conversation, and thanks again, and we will see you for the finale.
From
Hallelujah.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz y'all later!
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.